Hello guys, Russian banks have blocked millions of Russian cards and accounts since the beginning of 2026. Officially, 2-3 million of Russians lost access to their money during less than 3 weeks of this year. What else can tell you more about the situation inside the Russian banking system? Their forums are full of complaints. People did not have an opportunity to buy the things that they wanted, to send money that they wanted, or I don't know, to cover some expenses because all of that seemed suspicious to various Russian banks. But experts, even inside Russia, and lawyers, whom many of these people have already hired, prove that such mass nature of such blocks definitely speaks about bigger problems. And what the Kremlin tries to mask as a way to protect the population from fraud is actually one of the effective ways to keep the leftovers of money in this almost empty Russian banking system. This is an extremely bright signal that most likely the Kremlin has been using this money for a very long period of time and now does everything to prevent people from withdrawing their money from their accounts. Let's discuss how this all influences the public opinion inside Russia and what it tells us about 2026 budget for Russia in general. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin in The Hague, subscribe, share these videos to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. So, there is a popular phrase like, tell me there is a problem without naming it, or something like that. So, that's exactly what we see with the Russian bank system. Because millions of people, according to these preliminary estimates officially shared in Russia, and we know that their media always tries to paint a brighter picture than it is in reality. So even according to these official statistics, 2-3 million Russians lost access to their bank cards and accounts because some of their actions were considered fraudulent, if that's the right word. We may say this is more than 2% of active bank clients, and that's a lot for less than 3 weeks. We are talking just about this 2 weeks and a half of January 2026. During a very short period of time, 3 million people had their cards and accounts blocked just because they wanted to buy something or they wanted to, I don't know, pay for some services. And these tiny, not huge operations seemed fraudulent to the banking authorities. We all know that for a very long period, since the beginning of these failures in the Russian economy on the front lines, millions of apolitical Russians made a decision to withdraw their cash from banks' accounts, and this led to serious problems in the system. And a lot of banks like Sberbank addressed the Russian population, begging them not to withdraw trillions, and these were trillions of rubles, because this action alone can cause problems to the banking system. And they also had exhausting war, empty federal budget, and many other reasons that shook the system from inside. And now, how do you think? Will people continue withdrawing their cash if they see that their cards can be blocked under no serious reasons? Let me know in the comments below your opinion. And the fact that all of these bank forums are full of complaints only demonstrates that this is a mass nature of a problem. So it's not something local in a particular region or with particular sums or a specific, I don't know, buying service. No, that is a plan. How to slow down this movement, circulation of money from the banking system to the pockets of Russians. And this is one of the greatest signals of huge problems inside Russia. And that's why Russian oligarchs are panicking. They are talking about that openly for the first time since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. And I believe a very important analysis of Oleg Deripaska and those who support him appeared on Anna Danilchuk channel, and I connect a link to this video here. But what does this mass nature of blocked cards and accounts tell us? According to the Russian experts and some lawyers that these Russians have already hired, the reason is that Russian banks, together with Kremlin, were brainstorming on how to limit people in the ability to buy what they want, thus keeping money on the accounts that the Kremlin perhaps can reach. I honestly believe that Putin is already in the pocket of every Russian, and they are coming to understand this. And they complain a lot about payments, about high prices, about problems with logistics. That's all over the Russian internet. They still do not name the main reasons for that, like war in Ukraine and the imperial nature of the Russian Federation, but they already see the consequences of this war in their pockets, on the shelves of their shops, and now in their on their bank accounts, ATMs that do not give them what they want. So according to this expert opinion from inside Russia, the Kremlin, together with big Russian banks, might have developed a list of extremely unnaturally expanded indicators for a potential fraud. And it's not to protect a customer, a user, because all of the necessary procedures were present in 2024, 2025. This is a desperate move to prevent Russians from withdrawing money from banks, keeping them in this state system, and pretending that it's not Putin who needs your money, but it's just the way to take care of you. But once again, if we're talking about millions of people, a huge percentage of Russia's banks' clients, not all of them were doing something evil. Not all of them were acting unusually. And these are minor, usual, typical operations. For example, like a second purchase of something in the same shop or something. That is a kind of filter that the Kremlin decided to apply and introduce in banks. And in Russia, everyone is super dependent on the decision of the Kremlin goblin. And thus they don't let people get the money they need, at least from the first try, and money stay longer in the system, or maybe even people quit and accept their fate. That is a very typical Russian approach. But this speaks louder than any numbers, than any analysis of the best financial experts. Literally, 3 million of Russians had their accounts and cards blocked because the banking system did not want or did not have this money to give them, and invented this idea that their behavior seemed unnatural, abnormal, but just a month ago it was totally okay. Do share these videos to spread the truth, and remember to follow me on various social media, the links to which I share in the description of this video: X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. Also, check the merch shop, lots of good items that help you remind the world about Ukraine, and we are forever grateful for that. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channels, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!